Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Yesterday, I talked about a comment I got on one of my videos where a person accused gun owners of being racist because we tend to support Donald Trump, or at least we give him a lot of leeway. Well, after I responded to that person's comment the other day, they came back and made another comment, which I want to address today. They said, all you gun owners are fascists. That's just the reality, they said. They said, if you weren't fascist, why do you hate Marxism so much? They're like, Marxism is power to the people. And isn't that what you all always say about guns? It gives power to the people, so why are you against Marxism? Well, I want to talk today really quickly about why gun owners tend to not like Marxism or communism, which Marxism always becomes communism. I want to talk about why gun owners tend to not like it, and most Americans shouldn't like it. And I want to talk about how it doesn't actually even really exist. And let's talk about that last part there first. How communism isn't really a thing. A communist country isn't really a thing. Now, I know a lot of people right now are going, well, what about China and Russia and Cuba and North Korea and blah and blah and blah? Well, those places call themselves communist countries. I could call myself a pretty little princess. That doesn't make me a pretty little princess. I'm just pretty, but I'm not a princess. Those countries are not communist. If they actually practiced Marxism or communism, well, you wouldn't have 98% of the people peasants and 1% of the people billionaires and 1% somewhere in the middle, which is what a lot of these countries are like. You wouldn't have dictators like you have in China and Russia and North Korea and Cuba. Those would not be there. That wouldn't be that way if they were truly communist countries. If the people held all the power of production and manufacturing, etc., held the properties, the tools, which is what is the tenets of Marxism, is that the people, if you work in a factory, you own that factory. And if someone wants to make products in your factory, they have to come to you with their raw materials and their idea and make a deal with you that is fair to both of you, instead of people working in a factory just being wage slaves. That's one of the main tenets of Marxism. And Marxism is a wonderful pipe dream. I mean, I would love something like that to actually be true. I would also love it if I shit bricks and pissed diamonds. But every time I look back when I'm done, it's not happening. And that's the same thing with Marxism. It always becomes communism, and communism never stays communism. It always, almost immediately morphs into fascism, dictatorships. Because as soon as you start saying, well, everyone has to get their fair share, so we have to create this board of people who determines and makes sure everyone gets their fair share, that board of people starts taking way more than their share and starts giving their friends way more than their share. Because that power isn't really in the people. So that's why we as gun owners tend to not like communism, because it's not real. It's a front for fascism. And no American should like fascism. It's not the things we should be looking at as an ideal. Now, I agree with most people out there that the business world should be more evenly divided. There should be people that have a lot bigger stake in their jobs, a lot bigger stake in their economy. People should be paid better. People shouldn't get to be multi-billionaires while the people who run their business and actually make their business happen are living at poverty level. If your business requires you to hire people at poverty level, well, then your business doesn't have a right to exist as far as I'm concerned. And I do understand there's some jobs that aren't meant to be supportive. They're just meant to be like extra jobs for teenagers, like at McDonald's, to get, pay their car insurance for the car their parents bought them or something. And I'm okay with those wages not being super high because of that fact. There's lots of gray area when it comes to wages. But I do believe most people should have a bigger say in their economy, should have a bigger role in their economy, should do better financially. But I think people need to work for that. They need to strive for that. They don't need to just sit at home and say, I deserve it because if you're just sitting at home, what do you really deserve? Not much. So even though I can agree with we do need to give more to people, people deserve more for the work they do. You got to remember, for the work they do, not just for being people. I don't believe that communism can actually be a thing, and therefore Marxism can't be a thing, because Marxism, like I said, is communism, and communism becomes, what did I say? Fascism. And I don't like fascism, and I don't think you should either. Even if you are the most lefty, Bernie-loving person out there, you still shouldn't like fascism. Isn't that what Antifa is all about? That they don't like fascism? And I don't think very many people come in left of Antifa, do they? So if you sit down and you look at all these countries that are supposedly communist, and you want to pretend like communism is a good thing, it's power for the people, show me an example. Look at Russia, look at China, look at how it really works in the real world. And I'm not asking you to say, well, but in a perfect world, well, yeah, in a perfect world, it'd be Fantasy Island. It'd be, or the mascara even. Maybe we'd all have bulletproof bracelets and all that shit. But this isn't a perfect world. And I do want my bulletproof bracelets. Even as a kid, I was always like, ding, 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 ding. So I want those. But this isn't a fantasy land. This is the real world. And communism doesn't work. There's too many weak points to it. And I'm not saying that democracy never becomes fascism, because it does. It's just not as linear of a path, and it's not as imminent of a path, and it usually takes longer, and people got to be a lot lazier and not pay attention. There's a lot more roadblocks there where people can go, oh, wait a minute. With communism, there's no roadblocks to fascism. It's too easy. So that's why it happens that way. So for those of you out there that love communism, well, great, but you love a fairy tale. Same thing with most socialist countries. There are a lot of democracies that are very socialist. There's socialist democracies. In fact, we're kind of one, and they do fairly well. But once you take that democracy out of it, you don't ever want a socialist regime. Those don't work well either. Check those out historically. I'm okay with socialist programs. There's a big difference between a socialist regime and a socialist program. Medicare is a socialist program. WIC is a socialist program. The fire department, the police department, our electrical grid, our roads, all of those things are socialist programs, but we don't have a socialist government. We have a democracy. We have a representative republic. So that's fine. But like I say, communism just doesn't work. So if you want to pretend it does, I suggest you do some homework and pay attention to the real world for a change, where you're not living off daddy's money, dressing in black and running around, throwing Molotov cocktails at people or beating people up in the street because who you think they voted for. And I'm getting a little off topic here. But like I said, wanted to address that topic. Why do gun people hate communism? Because it isn't real. It's just fascism in disguise. All right, everybody, with that being said, I want to move on to my favorite part of the show, gun talk. And today I want to address a statement made by a viewer about a gun that's coming out that I'm very excited about. The gun is the M&P 12. This is a dual tube shotgun, pump action, that is very much like, the Kel-Tec version of this gun. Kel-Tec made a very popular gun, if you remember, a while back, just like this. They still make it. And a lot of people have said, and I've one in particular last night said, isn't this gun just a ripoff of the Kel-Tec? Well, yeah, in many ways it is a ripoff of the Kel-Tec. It is a bullpup shotgun, pump action, with multiple barrels, multiple tubes that it feeds from. And it holds either 12 or 14, depending on whether you're using 2 3/4 inch or 3 inch. It also says that it will handle the little short rounds, the short shells, the mini shells, which I'm assuming they mean it does that without any additional aids, like having to put a special feed ramp or anything in there, like some guns have to have to shoot those. So looks like it's a cool gun. I like the looks of it. I think it looks better than the Kel-Tec. But here's the thing. It is a ripoff of the Kel-Tec, but that's a good thing, because I don't know about anybody else out there, but every single time Kel-Tec puts out a gun, usually I'm like, wow, That's a really cool design. I can't wait till a real gun company starts to make a version of that. That happens all the time. I'm still waiting for a PMR-30 and this new gun that's coming out, the one with the 50, or was it 50 rounds of 5.7, something like that. Still waiting for those to be made by a real gun company someday, hopefully. But like I said, yeah, it is kind of a takeoff of the Kel-Tec. It's kind of a rip-off of the Kel-Tec. But now it's being made by a gun manufacturer, so it should actually work. There shouldn't be glue oozing out of the seams. When those Kel-Tec ones first came out, I went and looked at like a bunch of them that came into Sportsman's Warehouse. This is when people were buying them up and selling them for twice as much on the internet. And I wasn't going to do that. I was just trying to pick one good one for me. We went through all of them. Every one they got, every one of them either had pieces that were glued together weirdly, had glue oozing out of seams, had really badly formed plastic with like bad spots, melt spots in it and everything. And the metal was just cheap and bleh. So I didn't even buy one after going through having first crack at all of them. And there was a bunch of them because it was such garbage. This is an M&P, this is Smith & Wesson. And yeah, I know they did make a mistake with the M&P shield. That shouldn't be an M&P, but I'm hoping this will be good. So for those of you that are, naysaying it simply because, well, Kel-Tec did it first. Well, yeah, but maybe Smith & Wesson did it right. Because Kel-Tec sure didn't. So I am excited about this gun. I look forward to it very much. It is a ripoff of a Kel-Tec, but Kel-Tec makes some great designs. But unfortunately, they're just not good at building them. All right, everybody, I want to end the show today by just reminding some people of some things. For one, send me your pictures of your rescued pets. Just in the subject line, put rescued pet or pet rescue in the subject so I can find the emails. Also, send me pictures of your EDC in the comment section, or actually the subject line of the email. Just put viewer EDC so I can feature those on the channel. And also, I want to remind everyone that I am trying to encourage people to become a patron this week because Patreon is down to a level now where it does no longer support TYM Triple P, and I'd like to get it back up. It's not real short, it's just a little short, like $300 and something. It's actually up a few dollars from yesterday, but I don't know if I should be telling people go join because it kind of, as many people joined, people left. I think they got offended that I asked people to join Patreon, but they were already patrons, so I don't get it. But who can figure out people on the internet, especially gun people? They're a fickle bunch. And I'm one of those, so not insulting anybody that I'm not willing to insult myself too. But like I said, send in those pictures of your rescued pets, of your everyday carry, and make sure you're carrying your gun. You have to have a picture of you actually carrying it, not just a picture of it sitting on a table. I can get that off the internet. I want it to be you carrying your gun the way you carry it. And also, please go over to patreon.com. I'll put a link in the upper corner of this video, and there's a link in the description of the video. Become a patron, support TYM Triple P. I always have trouble with that word. But, well, it's not even a word. Isn't that like an acronym or whatever? What does it call it when it's just a bunch of letters? But it doesn't spell anything. TYM Temp. I guess it does spell kind of temp. Like this thing going to be around for long. That's not good. I shouldn't have figured that out. That doesn't sound good. That's not reassuring. Let's think of something else that says time P, like time to P. I don't know. But like I said, please go over, become a patron. $1, $2, $5 if you want to be a friend level patron, or more if you want to get patches, pins, etc. So please go over, support the programs, including the Pets and Vets programs that we fund with the super chats every night in the live chats. Please come to the live chats. It's great fun. We have good conversations. So please come. And I'd like to get more people to show up as guests on the live chat. Like if you got something to plug, or you're another gun channel, or you work in the pro-gun activism industry, come on my show. I'm glad to have you, glad to host you. But for now, just want to remind everyone, send those pics, and please support the TYM Triple P by going over to Patreon and becoming a patron. All right, everybody, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you come back again tomorrow. Until then, I just want to sign off, as usual, by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, it is what it is. It could be a lot worse, but it could still be better. And if we as a community come together and start ignoring the fearmongers, the profiteers, the fake activists that just want to serve their own pocketbook, and don't really want to protect the Second Amendment, and if we quit giving those people the power and the influence and start doing the right thing and keeping level heads about us, what things will be for people that value the Second Amendment and freedom in general in the very near future is better.